The Sports Underground is brought to you by Best Western Plus Mall of America, Bloomington, Minnesota. Hi again, everyone. Sports Underground is back on the air once again from the fantastic accommodations down here at the Best Western Plus Mall of America, Bloomington, Minnesota. Thanks to Mark Olson and all the staff for everything they do for us here at the Sports Underground. They make doing this show a pleasure. So the reason we're here today, of course, is the big one. Super Bowl Sunday show, two familiar faces, Patriots and the Giants. I think we've seen this before, and what's different than the last time they met?
Well, that's what I was going to bring up right away is, haven't we just done this not too long ago? It was a great Super Bowl. But I was going to say, too, most the important pieces are already there or have been there, or it's got a familiar feel to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of buzz about this Super Bowl just because
it's so recent.
Yeah,
it's been done.
You can only talk about Tom Brady, Eli Manning, the whole 9 yards so often before it gets a little redundant. So here we are to be a little more redundant for ourselves and kind of do the same thing. But we're going to break down a little bit of stuff for you here, go through some matchups we think are kind of key to the game, and just do a little bit of Super Bowl shuffle as it was.
Are you surprised these two teams made it?
I'm not surprised the way the Giants played at the end of the year, the way the Patriots have been all year, but I am surprised that both teams should have lost in the championship games. Both close games, one guy on San Francisco, Williams, the punt returner, cost them a game that the Giants think were clearly outplayed. Eli was beaten up, knocked down, sacked 6 times, and the Patriots, if Lee Evans and their wonderful kicker, Billy Cundiff, don't combine to do 2 of the biggest gaffes in 30 seconds, the Patriots aren't here either.
I agree. I agree. But nonetheless, I think it's going to be a good Super Bowl.
I think it should be.
There's not a whole lot of buzz about it, but I think it's just because it's redundant.
Right.
And the same cast of characters are here. But I think it'll be a good Super Bowl.
And I do have to eat a little crow. Mike did predict both of the championship games correctly. I did not. So I have to go on here and say that he was better than me that time. That really hurt, you know that? All right, so we're going to get on here with a little bit of the Sports Underground presentation of Super Bowl XLVI, the Patriots versus the Giants. So, Eli Manning, is he best suited for this situation? What I mean by that, the fact that he's always been in Peyton's shadow, the fact that there's never really been a lot of pressure. He's kind of been under the radar the whole time, except for maybe his draft day, the whole kerfuffle with the Chargers and the Giants. Is this his kind of matchup?
Well, I think so. Does this validate him as a quarterback? Does this validate his career and kind of put a stamp on it?
I think so, even without winning. I think getting here twice, especially with the up and down season they had.
Right. And he matches his brother regardless of what happens here. If he loses, he matches his brother. If he wins, is he better? Does he carry on a better legacy? I say no. No,
because everything Peyton did, but Eli is overlooked because of that fact more than probably any other player in football. I mean, this guy was a 4,000-yard passer, and you don't think of him in the top 8, 9 quarterbacks, and he probably is.
And this is so stupid, but here's a guy who's around the 11th round in fantasy football drafts and always puts up some really solid numbers.
Well, the receiving crew they have now, you know, they lose Steve Smith in the offseason, and you think, what are they going to do to fill that hole? Victor Cruz comes out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, with those 3 receivers, you could have seen it coming, but nobody did see it coming. And if you did, you probably won your fantasy league if you had this guy on your team.
Exactly.
Continue the hot streak. Obviously, Eli's been playing, if not above his head, pretty close to what I think his ceiling is. Now, maybe there's more that we don't know about from him, but he was phenomenal. At San Francisco game, they beat the tar out of that guy.
He did.
And when the plays had to be made, he made the plays.
I think he got beat up pretty good against the Packers, too. I think the Packers hit him pretty hard.
Yeah, I think you're right.
There's a couple times where you can see him where he's just kind of out of breath and got hit in the ribs pretty hard.
But the thing I like about Eli coming to this game is that against the Packers, they pretty much went up and down the field at will, the high-powered offense we thought they had. The Niners, it was a grind-it-out, take advantage of mistakes kind of game, and he made no mistakes. He wasn't going to lose that game. He let San Francisco do it for themselves, and then when it was his chance, he proved once again why he's a Super Bowl caliber.
And that's sometimes what you have to do.
Yeah, I agree. So he wins, as we touched on a little bit. He wins his Super Bowl. Where does this rank him? Do you think of him now as one of the all-time greats? Is he a good quarterback? what does this say about him if they win?
Well, he's not going to be like his counterpart Brady. I think he's above him still. I think his brother's still above him. He's no Montana Bradshaw. But, you know, is he Joe Namath? Or where does he fall?
Right.
Where does he fall? That's a good question.
Well, he's got to be best New York quarterback probably if he wins the Super Bowl. That's two. You know,
Yeah.
Namath got one, Sims got one, Hostetler has one.
Yeah.
Not that the names are big there, not maybe the most distinguished quarterbacks, you know, but
Is he better than Elway or Marino?
no, he's not. Even though Marino didn't win these Super Bowls, he's not Dan Marino.
No, he's not.
And there's very
I
few
agree.
Dan Marinos.
I know, but I'm just saying.
No, I know.
Look at the stats line.
Right.
It's comparable.
No, it is, and a lot of people would say without a Super Bowl, it doesn't validate Marino's career. I get that, but
He was good.
This does move Eli up the ladder of current quarterbacks for sure. You know, now he's in the Big Ben range where you've got Brady, you've got Breeze, you've got Manning, and then Rodgers,
Well, yeah.
and now you probably got Roethlisberger, Eli, those guys right behind him.
Does all of a sudden the sports world and maybe the competition, the NFL, take a little more notice than Eli Manning? Maybe take him a little more serious than what they have been?
No, I don't think. I think he's still going to be overlooked. You know, he's never going to be that guy that flips off the tongue as elite quarterback. Even though he is, come next year, I will guarantee it. Come next year in the fall, you'll forget all about him again. You'll take him in your 10th round of the fantasy draft, and and all of a sudden they'll be 8-8, 6-10. Where's Coughlin? Where's his job going to be? You know, and we'll still have those questions.
Is this a team and is this a player that is built for the postseason? You know how we speak about teams that are built for the regular season, the Chargers, for example, maybe the Vikings a little bit, and there are teams that are built for the postseason. Maybe we see this more in longer season sports, right? Like
Yeah.
basketball, hockey,
Right.
baseball, maybe.
I
But
think-
is this a team and this a player that excels and knows how to play and get the most out of himself in the postseason?
Well, I think we touched on this last time, is that the Giants had the most balance of any team that was in the playoffs. You know, not great defense, but good defense. Not the elite offense, but good offense. And now the Patriots are another way. Great offense, bad defense, which has played fairly well in the playoffs. But if you look at them, the Giants are a team built for this because they can beat you with D if they need to. They can beat you with offense. And they proved it in both their wins. Different style games. They shut down the 49ers, albeit the Niners not that explosive. But against the Saints, the Niners moved it up and down the field on them. So I think the Giants are built for the playoffs. I think you're right.
Keep in mind they went on the road twice also.
That is true. That is true. Coaching. If Bill Belichick wins this, is he the greatest coach in the history of the NFL?
Boy, hard to say that. It's hard to say you're watching the greatest coach in the NFL, isn't it? Like in the time.
Oh, it is.
Ask me in 5 years, you'd be like, that guy was the greatest. Let's say he hangs it up after this year.
Him
is
and
he the
Brady
greatest?
him and Brady's a combo. This would be their 4th Super Bowl win. And remember that when Brady won his first one, they had a pretty good quarterback, Drew Bledsoe, that had been injured, was coming back, and Belichick said, no,
Yeah.
we're going to ride Brady. Right, I mean,
He was a nobody.
ballsy. Yeah, exactly. Neither of them were. Belichick was a failure in Cleveland, and that one singular decision has led us to this point. You know, this
Yeah.
is why we're here.
Well, and these two have a marriage that is unbreakable. If you break off one of them, I don't think the other one is
I agree with
is
that.
what
Right.
they are.
Right.
I mean,
No, you're right.
without
It's always
each
going
other.
to be Brady and Belichick.
Yeah.
When you talk, is Belichick the greatest coach? Well, he had Tom Brady. Was Brady the greatest quarterback? He had Bill Belichick. You're right. It's always going to be the
Is
conversation.
he the greatest ever? Well, that's like dissecting the greatest quarterback ever. You got 5 names in a hat, and you can make arguments for each one of them. But he's got to be top 5, top 3. Is he top 2? I mean, who is number 1? I don't know.
No, I mean, Lombardi, I guess, Hallis,
Yeah,
people
sure.
I don't know.
Right.
You know, sure, I know they won some, tournaments, championships. But, yeah, how do you judge the best coach? You're right. Jimmy Johnson won 2 and got out. Does that make him the best because he left? Who knows? Yeah. Can Tom Coughlin get a break? Tom Coughlin wins the Super Bowl. Can they not ask every year, is this the time he's fired? Is it time for Coughlin to go? Do the players hate him? There's always a revolt, it seems like. And at the end of the year, he's usually left standing. You know, after the fiasco of last year with that punt that Deshaun Jackson returned to end the Giants season, to see them here, I think it says a lot about the man.
Well, I'll tell you what, can he get a break? But I guarantee he gets a last laugh.
No, that's probably true.
That's it. That's all I have to say, I think.
But does this give him security to retire a Giants coach her as long as he wants, and then right off in the sunset?
I hope so, but this is such a business. Does building the city of Indianapolis give Peyton Manning the right to remain there?
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
You know what I mean?
And plus, it is New York. You know, it's a little more scrutinized there than it is everywhere else. If he was probably the Lions coach, they'd probably be building statues to him right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then, is this the last shot? And this is more of a Patriot question. Brady, Belichick, both getting up there a little bit. Belichick's been doing this for a while. As hard and as focused as he is, how much more do you think he has left?
I'm going to say initially, when I read this question, I thought, no, I don't think it's their last shot. If you ask me, if we're in the same boat next year, maybe. Maybe add one more year. Definitely in 3 years.
Because this Patriots team is not the team they've came to the Super Bowl with the last few times. I mean, it's a lot spottier. That defense is a lot more questionable. And I think if it's not Belichick coaching this team, I don't think you're in the Super Bowl.
That's tough. That's
tough. And it's him and Brady both. I get it.
But Brady and that offense, and it just seems like that the intangible of the knowledge and the confidence and the experience propels them to be a contender every year.
Right.
And to be in the Super Bowl conversation every single year. Is this their last chance? I would say no. But it's getting there.
There are some up-and-coming teams. You look at the Texans, they get healthy next year. I think they're going to be a real force to be reckoned with the Patriots, but that's another conversation.
It's awfully close. It's awfully close.
All right, New England offensive line. Good pass protection, poor run blocking, and they're able to run the hurry-up offense. And in a game where points and possessions could be at a premium, and I mean they always are in a Super Bowl, but if it comes down to the end of the game and it's a close game, I like the way they run the hurry-up offense. I like the fact this offensive line's not going to tire, and they don't do a lot of physical run blocking where they're trying to bust field. It's a lot of drop-back pass protection. I think that's going to help them as the game progresses if it's a close game.
I agree. The run blocking probably isn't their forte. Of course, running isn't really their forte.
Is it them or is it the lack of a running back? You know, Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, he's not Adrian Peterson.
I think they could run if they wanted to with this offensive line. But does this offensive line neutralize how powerful the defensive line of the Giants is?
I think they do. Everything's based on timing, and I think they're good enough for Brady's quick hitters. Receivers get off the line. I don't think you're going to blame the offensive line for losing the game, is what I
No, I agree. I think this offense as a whole is a well-oiled machine.
I think so, too. The New York offensive line, above average pass protection, average run blocking. They should be better at running the ball than what they have been. Now, as the playoffs have progressed, they've been a little better, 70 yards a game. Where in the regular season, they're one of the worst teams in the league at running the football. And when you have Brandon Jacobs and Ahmad Bradshaw, the change of pace, the fire and ice, thunder and lightning thing, you would think that they would be better at it.
You would think so, yeah. Again, though, I don't think this is going to be the culprit if they lose the game. I don't think this offensive line unit's going to be...
What if Belichick sits back and says, you are not beating me with these receivers, run the ball on me? Can they get it done?
That's such a stretch. That's
it is, but Belichick is a defensive genius. If he thinks that he can take something away, he's done it before. I mean, he beat the greatest show on turf. And they had Marshall Faulk to run the ball, and they still couldn't run the ball on him, and he completely took away that offense.
Yeah, that's true.
Different personnel. Julian Edelman wasn't playing
10 years ago.
Julian Edelman wasn't a defensive back, but Troy Brown was. So same kind of thing. They use their athletes and positions to win.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, good question. But I feel they're solid enough not to lose the game for them. I think they're gonna match up well.
So same thing as New England. If not going to be their fault, win or lose.
I was going to say rehash the same thing we said about New England. Both solid units.
Right.
Both probably not going to be the culprit for losing the Super Bowl.
All right. The New England wide receivers: Wes Welker and Wes Welker and Wes Welker. If Deion Branch is the MVP of the Super Bowl, I would be not only surprised, but would bet you money that it won't happen.
Where does Chad Ochocinco show up in this?
He wasn't even active for the Ravens game. Does he even dress?
I don't even know.
Now, if there ever was a chance for a guy to go out on top, to put all the other crap behind him, what if Ochocinco showed up and actually was Ochocinco of 2 years for one game, and he had 8 catches for 110 yards and a touchdown? I mean, he could be the difference in the game, but chances are it's not going to happen.
Probably not. No. Welker, we know his game: 8-yard catch, 25-yard run, if he can get it, but. He doesn't stretch the field. He doesn't really scare anybody like those New York receivers do.
No, they don't. And I don't see anyone else really being a factor in this game. I guess if Ochocinco or Deion Branch are a big factor, New England wins. Easily would be my guess.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. The New York wide receivers. We've heard them before. Manningham, Cruz, and Nix. Hakeem Nicks, gigantic in the win over the Packers. Didn't hear from him at all in the 49ers game, but Victor Cruz stepped up and was the monster in that game.
These three are pretty interchangeable, and they all do everything really well. Cruz, I think, is a little bit more of a speedster. Nick's has got more size. Manningham has the hands. You know, I think they have three distinct different characteristics about them that make them all unique.
And each
them all effective.
Yeah, they do their roles. They know their roles and they do them well. Exactly. They don't try and be something they're not. They know on the goal line, Nicks is the guy that's going to get the ball in the end zone. They know that down the field, Cruz is going to be across the middle. You're right, and right now, maybe not a better trio of receivers in the NFL.
Not right now. I'd take him.
Yeah, and Cruz being an undrafted rookie, this guy's going to be good for a long time, especially playing with a quarterback like Eli Manning.
It looks like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he really does. I'd love to have him on the Vikings. New England tight end. Gronkowski's ankle. I know they're going to shoot him up. They're going to tape him up. They're going to throw him out there. Can he be effective? And if he's not, can Hernandez and the rest of that offense overcome it?
Can he be effective? Boy, that's tough with an ankle injury. They hurt. They're very limiting to everybody who has them. We bring, you know, one. If one receiver, number one is Welker, 1A is Gronkowski, obviously. And he's the answer in the end zone.
Right. He might be 1A. I mean, exactly. It's that close.
Right, exactly. But is Hernandez the answer? Hernandez has to be the answer.
Well, he'll have to step up even bigger if Gronkowski's hurt. And, you know, he's a big part of the offense even when Gronkowski's around. But the bad ankle, Gronkowski's game is a little bit of breakaway speed from the linebackers. And then once he catches the ball, he pounds you. You know, he wears down, he breaks a lot of tackles. Is that ankle going to hinder him? Is he going to be tackling and go down? You know, instead of turning 4-yard catches into 12, 15-yard gains, is this going to set back the whole offense?
If he starts and makes it out there, if I'm the Giants, I would make sure he doesn't see the end of the second quarter.
You're probably right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think
hit him hard, hit him often. Yeah.
They target him. Oops, it looks like you re-aggravated that ankle. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? That's a big target.
Well, and I don't think he'll hurt them if he's not. I mean, by being out there, he's not going to hurt them. But if he's not effective, does New England have a backup plan in place? I would assume so. You know, they know what they're doing. They've been here before.
They're pretty smart. Yeah, I would think so.
But they are big shoes to fill. And him and Hernandez, him and Hernandez are basically Cruz and Manningham of the Giants. You know, their big three are Welker and the two tight ends. So it could be a big deal. And then maybe it is an Ocho Cinco that has to step up and play that game.
I agree.
New England D-backs. They cannot play man-to-man, these receivers. They're not good enough. They will get killed if they try to go straight up man on the Giants. Manning will stand back there and pick them apart.
Well, exactly. What's the over-under on 30-yard plays from these receivers? 6?
Oh, I would say, yeah. That's a good
2 a quarter?
Yeah, I would think so.
8?
And even if they're not making them, they're sure going to try 2 or 3 a quarter. I mean, I think that's the thing they do is they test this defensive backfield early and they test them often and see if Julian Edelman can cover anybody. That's the next thing is Edelman exploited. If they do go to man, or even if they're playing zone, I think wherever Edelman lines up on the field, that's the guy they're going to attack and say, if you beat us, if you stop us, congratulations.
Does he have the size or knowledge to cover any one of those 3 guys?
Well, I assume he's not going to be on Nicks because Nicks is too big and too physical. I think Manningham is the only guy size-wise.
Cruz is too fast, and Manningham makes sense because I think they're a little bit at least evenly matched somewhat.
Right. But still, I would attack them all over the field, and I'm sure that's probably. And Brady, like I said, their offense is based on timing, and so Edelman, I don't think he's that comfortable back there. And if he's in a zone, they're going to exploit the area of the zone, whether it be short passes, across the middle, wherever he's at. I think they're going to attack.
I agree.
And then, who do you stop? Do you pick one guy out and try and take him away completely, or do you just sit back and say, you're not going to beat us at the big play? We'll let you get 3, we'll let you get 10, we'll let you get 5, and then we're going to try and stop you when it comes.
I don't know how you say we're going to stop the big play. How hard is that?
Yeah, I don't know either.
I mean,
this is the biggest question mark of the game, is if these D-backs can stop the Giants receivers, because on paper, it looks like a mismatch, and it looks like it's going to be a shootout that the Patriots are going to have to keep up with the scoring of the Giants.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Who do you stop? That's a good question.
The New York D-backs. Can they be physical? Everything New England does is timing-based. It's been said a million times. They have to be physical at the line. If those receivers can get off the line free, New England is going to have a field day against them. If they can stop them off the line, if Gronkowski's ankle's a little sore, then the Giants have a huge advantage here if they can knock them off their timing routes. Because they have a great defensive line Jason Pierre-Paul, Matthias Kiwanuka. Those guys are going to put some pressure if Brady can't find his first, 1 or 2 options.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah.
Zone obviously disrupt timing routes. If you can't be physical, you have to drop back in the zone. Maybe make New England see some things they haven't seen before, I'm sure. Or, the other thing, lull to sleep. New England, short, bam, over the top with, someone you haven't seen before.
Yeah.
That would be the only thing I'd be worried about with them. But they are susceptible to Packers when they did have a couple good drives. Aaron Rodgers did go up and down the field, a couple of them. Not all game long, a lot of it because of the pressure of the line. But I think that their defensive backfield, it's not an 8 or 9 out of 10 scale. It's maybe a 6 or a 7, I would say.
Is that enough to get it done?
No, but if you can slow them enough, so your offense is going to carry you as the Giants. If you slow New England down, make them take a little more time to get to the end zone, don't give up any big plays, I think they're probably going to be okay.
To me, that's the weakest part of the team, and that's the biggest question mark. But if you call it a 6 or a 7, and that's your weakest part,
No,
I'll take it.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. Tom Brady. It's his chance to be the all-time greatest if he wins the Super Bowl. Is he if he wins?
The all-time greatest?
The greatest quarterback who's ever played the game.
Again, how do you measure that outside of stats? You can measure stats, I understand that. Outside of stats, how do you measure that?
It's him, it's Bradshaw, it's Montana. That's what would be standing with 4 Super Bowls.
That's exactly right. All-time greatest? I don't know.
He has the single-season touchdown record. His team went 18-0 before they got beat one year. He would have 4 Super Bowls. His aura, you're right about can you pick one, but your list probably includes him.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to say it's the same thing. Put five football cards on a table and pick one.
Does this separate him from Peyton Manning completely? If he wins
I agree. Yes, and as it sits right now, yes. And unfortunately, Peyton Manning went down with injury, so that hurts him too, of course, cuts his career short, perhaps. And that hurts him too. But yeah, this would separate him completely.
All right.
This era would belong to him.
Right. Oh yeah, and it probably does already with 3 Super Bowls.
Right.
Since 2000 started.
Yeah, since 2000, the era belongs to Manning or Brady. This would close the argument. Just being here may close the argument.
No, you're right. Last chance, we talked about a little bit Belichick and him. It's kind of the same thing. They're kind of rolled together.
Not quite yet.
And then, if anyone can overcome this injury to Gronkowski, if he really is injured and can't help him, it's got to be Tom Brady. And this would be his masterpiece if he got it done without Gronkowski.
I think he's kind of the X factor. Something I think about if he gets injured or if he gets, if it starts to be a blowout or something and his confidence gets hurt, what happens?
Right.
What happens to this
team?
team?
They say if you pressure Brady, you frustrate him. If you frustrate Brady, it's over. And I don't think it'll let him get to it. They lost to the Giants before. Everyone remembers that. I think he's on a mission. I don't think anything that happens to him in this game is going to frazzle him. All he wants to do is win.
I agree. I said before, when the Giants were playing the 49ers, all things equal, because it's pretty evenly matched teams, all things equal, will take the better quarterback, and look what happened. The better quarterback won.
So,
same thing here.
Is Brady? So you say Brady's a better quarterback?
I say Brady's a better quarterback, but
okay,
all things equal, I'll take the better defense.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right, so that is all of the, what do we want to call it, the breakdown of the Super Bowl. So I guess that leaves us with final predictions, and I'll let you go first this time, so maybe I can copy you so I'm not wrong.
Well, like I said, I do think Brady's the better quarterback, and I always hitch my wagon to that better quarterback because I think it's a safe bet. In this case, I got to go with the better defense because I think everything else is pretty well equal. I don't think Manning is Brady's equal, but he's comparable. I think I'll go with the better defense. I think I'll go with that New York Giants team that's kind of on a roll. Same thing that happened with the Green Bay Packers last year. Won a couple road games, looked real sharp in the playoffs, and all of a sudden, boom, they're Super Bowl champions, and everyone's talking about them. I think the Giants are a little bit too strong. I think they got too much going on offense. I think they got too much going on defense. I think they're a little stronger in a few key areas.
Close game?
Close game. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
So close as in last second to win, or close as in Giants are kind of always in control, but the Patriots hang around?
Yeah, close as in I think it's within 10 points, the final score, which, it sounds like a lot, but, let's say in the last, 3 minutes, someone scores a touchdown to widen the gap from 3 to 10,
Right.
something like that.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'd say within 10 points. You know, the New England's getting 2.5 right now, so you know they're favored. We'll see.
All right.
We'll see.
So you would take the Jets.
I'm taking the Giants. Yes.
Okay. Well, here's my dilemma. I think about all the advantages the Giants have: a little better defense, better wide receivers. Manning's playing out of his mind, and I always come back to Brady and Belichick. And are they the Brady and Belichick of 10 years ago? No, but they're still getting it done. And it can't be smoke and mirrors when you get to this point. You know, the Packers have shown you can get through a season smoke and mirrors. You're going to get found out in the playoffs. The other thing is, normally you get this situation and you have a decided team you really like. You know, you've said, oh, this team's been better all year. I really like this team. I don't have that feeling right now. Because although the Patriots were the #1 seed in the AFC, they were kind of under the radar the whole year. You always hear about them, but you never hear a lot about them. You know, it's always Ravens, Pittsburgh. They just Jets. You know, Jets. They always are good, but they always kind of fly. And it's hard to do being an East Coast team. Let me say that. Then there's the other factor of a good team sneaks by a playoff game they should lose. You go, ooh, they're going to blow that next team out. Both these teams did that last time. They both should have lost those games. So I don't have that edge. So if I said my heart tells me New England and my head tells me Giants, that gives me a really close game. So I'm going to pick the Patriots in a very, very close game. I think this could be the same way as last time. A last-minute touchdown to take the lead, lose it, win it either way. But I'm going to go with the Patriots for no other reason than I'd like Tom Brady to be in the conversation with Joe Montana.
I'm going to give you an example that I think you can draw a comparison to. Super Bowl between Indianapolis and the Saints a couple years ago. Remember how everybody was on Indianapolis, how strong they were, and how well everything. And I said that New Orleans is a little bit younger, they're a little more athletic, and I think they're going to beat them up a little bit more. I think the same thing happens here.
That's
the Giants,
a really, really good example.
The Giants, I just remember I said, I guarantee you, after watching them beat up the Vikings the way they did in that playoff game, do you remember that?
No, I do remember. The only thing about that game is that
much more physical.
They were so outplayed, though. That's the thing that stinks. You know, the Vikings turned over 5 times. They did more. I mean, they beat the crap out of the Vikings.
They did.
I mean, they beat us up. But I was sideswiped. I never saw it coming. I didn't think they were a very good team because you know, I thought the Vikings should have beat them. Maybe the Vikings were a lot better in that game.
I don't think that the Patriots are as young or athletic or as nasty as the Giants are right now.
No,
and I think that carries them a long ways, and I think that's what won New Orleans at Super Bowl.
Oh, you're probably right.
You know what I mean?
No, I agree, and that's a great analogy. It does. The minute you said it, it takes you right back to that game.
Does that not make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. But I can't change my pick.
No,
I can't let you be right.
No, I know.
So
I'm going to go 31-21. The coin toss is tails.
Ooh, coin toss. I'm going to go tails of the coin toss as well, and I'm going to go final score 27-24. Patriots late. So there you have it. That's the Sports Underground take on the Super Bowl. Mike and Kent, and we hope you're enjoying things. We're getting a few more views out there. We do have an email address, which is sportsunderground@yahoo.com. Feel free to email us. People are leaving some comments. Leave some more comments. We like that you're watching. We're trying to get out to you more. The website is now being developed, so we're just a month or two away from having a permanent home, so you can find us without having to search for all those Facebook posts and all those YouTube videos. So thanks for watching. We hope to see you very soon.